the predictions back in the late 1800s were the population growth rates of Chicago, of Detroit, of New York, of all these major cities was growing, and people were bringing their motive power with them. They were bringing their horses. And so an affluent couple might have a couple of horses, and as the people came into the cities, the horses came in and the horse droppings came in, and they would pile them up. Literally, they'd have lots on the corners of different city blocks where they'd pile the horse shit up. Right. And when it rained, the runoff would come down, it would bring disease, and it literally changed the architecture. And there were stories being written in the newspapers that said, listen, at this current rate, the number of horses and the amount of horse manure is going to grow exponentially, and we're heading towards an environmental disaster. Right. And then something happens. What happens? The car gets invented. And the car basically becomes the new motive force, and the horse population falls off a cliff, just like we've seen drastically. Over and over. Yeah, drastically. I mean, I have this great example of the drop of film photography for Kodak, right? Digital photography goes up like this, and film photography goes zap. We see problems way out there. Our brains are meaning-making machines. You guys know that, right? And what we do is we see a few patterns out there, and we see the problem in the future, and we accelerate it to today. And what we forget about is that when we see a problem that's 10 years out, 20 years out, we accelerate to today, we forget that we're going to be having exponential growth of tools to solve problems over the next 10, 20 years, and we ultimately solve those problems, and we are always skating ahead of the curve, and which is one of the things that gives me great hope for humanity.